Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we dive into a story that combines courage, danger, and the ugly reality of organized crime in South Africa. It's the story of KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, and his reflections on what life has been like since he exposed a powerful drug syndicate. Now, this is
Since that briefing, we know that the National Commissioner announced that your security had been increased. There were a number of changes that had happened. What has it been like for you dealing with these past few weeks?
Yeah, then the difficulty is that my privacy has been compromised, because wherever I walk around and I get people that recognize me and wants to greet me, and that's not what I enjoy the most. Other than that, everything remains the same. So I'm still proud of men and women out there, especially in KZN. On daily basis, they're making arrests, they're recovering illegal firearms, and the successful prosecutions that are happening in courts as a result of the hard-working men and women out there. So I'm quite pleased with that.
I know you said that you didn't call...
In his own words, he admitted, "My life has never been the same." Once you challenge those who profit from drugs, you realize the level of danger attached. But I couldn't allow fear to outweigh my responsibility to South Africans. That line captures the dilemma so many in law enforcement face. On one hand, they take an oath to serve and protect. On the other, the very act of doing their job against well-connected cartels can destroy their personal lives. And for Mkhwanazi, this wasn't theory. It became his reality. He faced direct threats, his family life grew strained, and suddenly the line between his work and his private world collapsed. Imagine waking up each day knowing you might be followed, knowing that criminals with deep pockets and deep political connections would rather see you silenced than let you continue exposing their dirty business. That's the life he now lives. But here's the remarkable part, he doesn't regret it. He says the choice to speak out reaffirmed his commitment to ethical policing and to the rule of law. And he doesn't take all the credit himself. He pointed to his family's resilience, their ability to endure the pressure alongside him, and the support of loyal colleagues who refused to look the other way. This story also shines a light on something many South Africans already know but rarely say out loud: drug syndicates don't thrive in a vacuum. They operate because corruption allows them to operate. Bribes, intimidation, and political protection form the shield behind which these syndicates flourish. When Mkhwanazi pulled that curtain back, he wasn't just pointing at drug lords. He was exposing a network that included compromised officials, compromised police, and compromised structures that are supposed to protect the people. And this is where it gets even more interesting. Analysts and observers argue that his stand is symbolic of the personal sacrifices that many in law enforcement must face if they want to tackle deeply entrenched crime. South Africa's crime problem isn't just about gangs on street corners. It's about the invisible web of influence stretching from politicians to businessmen to international networks that funnel drugs into our ports and onto our streets. By taking his stand, Mkhwanazi became a rare example of someone willing to risk personal peace for the bigger picture. Of course, he also admitted the obvious truth: this fight is bigger than him. He said, "If we don't take a stand, the next generation will pay the price." That's not rhetoric. It's the simple reality of crime in South Africa. Every generation that ignores it leaves the next one worse off. And with drugs flooding communities, destroying young lives, and creating cycles of addiction, the cost of silence is unbearable. Now, let's pause here. Because while this is an inspiring story, it's also one with irony. South Africans have seen many leaders talk tough about crime, only to later be exposed as part of the problem. We've watched police generals enjoy flashy cars, business ties, and suspicious friendships while crime rates skyrocketed. But here's a man saying he is ready to pay the price of honesty, and instead of being celebrated by everyone, he becomes a target. Isn't that the ultimate South African twist? The one who stands up for the people ends up sleeping with one eye open, while the corrupt glide through life with blue light convoys and bodyguards paid for by the taxpayer. And you know what? South Africans notice. On social media, Some people hail Mkhwanazi as a hero, comparing him to whistleblowers like Arthur Fraser, while others warn him that in this country, whistleblowers often end up in graves or in exile. The fear isn't paranoia. History tells us that brave individuals, from those exposing apartheid atrocities to those revealing corruption scandals in democratic South Africa, have often been punished more harshly than the criminals they expose. There's also the political undercurrent here. Jacob Zuma himself recently praised Mkhwanazi, calling him a qualified whistleblower and even comparing him to Fraser. Now, we know Zuma never throws compliments without a reason. So what does it mean when the former president starts drawing parallels between Mkhwanazi and one of his most controversial allies? It means the general story isn't just about crime anymore. It's becoming part of the broader political theater of South Africa, where every revelation, every act of defiance, and every whistleblower becomes a pawn, or a weapon, in factional battles. But politics aside, let's not lose sight of the core message. Here is a man who could have chosen silence, comfort, and career stability. Instead, he chose risk, discomfort, and personal sacrifice. And in doing so, he reminded South Africans of what integrity looks like in action. Whether or not one agrees with all his past decisions on this issue, his stand forces the nation to ask a sobering question: if honest officials are punished while criminals flourish, what future are we really building? And that's where the humor comes in, the bitter kind of humor only South Africans understand. We live in a country where if you expose criminals, you need protection. But if you're the criminal, you get protection from the state. That's the upside-down logic that makes this country both tragic and entertaining at the same time. So as we watch Mkhwanazi's journey unfold, let's remember this isn't just his fight. It's about every South African tired of drugs in their communities, tired of police being compromised, and tired of seeing honesty punished while corruption gets promoted. And now, I want to hear from you. Do you think South Africa will ever truly protect whistleblowers like General Mkhwanazi? Or are we doomed to keep watching heroes become martyrs while criminals laugh their way to the bank? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's have that conversation. If you enjoyed this video and want more deep dives into South African politics, crime, and society, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay informed, stay safe, and keep questioning the world around you. See you next time.